Hello, universe. Welcome to the most spectacular wrestling podcast you will find on the internet. You are listening to Tag Me In, bro. I'm Joe Tantillo, and as always, I'm seated next to my terrific co-host, Taryn O'Connor. Say hi to the people, Taryn.
Hi to the people, Taryn.
If you're new to the show, the format is simple. Each week, we discuss all the magnificent moments, turbulent times, and stunning surprises that professional wrestling has to offer.
So turn your radio up and your opinions down, because we've got some hot tags coming up NXT, which means next.
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
What's up, universe? It's Joe Tantillo, the J-Lister, coming to you live from Buffalo, New York. Happy belated 4th of July to all you real Americans out there, and to all you non-American fans, happy Wednesday. It is actually now Saturday that we are recording this. We're a little bit late this week, but we told you guys we had lots of holiday plans, drinking beers, grilling burgers, swimming in the pool. It was beautiful. It was like 100 degrees every single day. It was ridiculous. But we've got a lot of things to catch up on, in particular Monday Night Raw, which was mediocre this week, so not the worst week to miss the show if you have not seen it yet. And if you haven't seen it, we'll get you up to speed because we are going to be talking all things Raw all day long. But folks, before we get to that, you don't want to miss out on 1 second of Tag Me In Bro content, so go on Twitter right now and follow us at Tag Me In Bro. Then hop over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star Frog Splash review, because it helps us rise through the rankings and it promotes us, your favorite show. Now I hope everyone is excited for the show, because it is about to go down in a big way. Today, tomorrow, and every day, we are talking wrestling. First things first, we'll cover the Raw Rundown, where we'll give you our analysis of the most important bits of last night's show. After that, we've got our Hi to the People segment, where we engage the audience on various polls and topics to find out more about your views on what should happen. This week, we want to know, do you think that Lashley versus Reigns should main event Extreme Rules? Because that's what the rumor is at the moment. Then we take a trip to the Indie Corner, where we'll be giving you a little brief preview of Kenny versus Cody. Then we move on to our main event, where we'll be talking about the question on everyone's mind this week, and then we close out the show with our stars of the night. And the question on everyone's mind this week, for those of you who are wondering, is Brock Lesnar's booking a work or reality? We'll be talking much more about that in the main event, but first let's get to that Raw Rundown. Woo! Here are the only 5 things you need to know from Monday Night Raw, July 2nd, 2018 edition. Number 5, Extreme Bliss. Number 4, Kevin Owens and Braun. Number 3, Bayley's counseling. Number 2, Iron Rollins. And number 1, Roman Knight Reigns. Now, before we get started, I want to welcome to the show, as always, my bro from the same mo, real-life brother, John Tantillo, at BFLO Codebreaker, like Jericho's finisher, on Twitter. Say hi to the people, John.
It's me, it's JJT.
So, John, why don't you break down number 5 for us? We got an Extreme Rules match coming up at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view between Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. What are your thoughts?
I think this is kind of a weird feud to place this stipulation in. To this point, it hasn't really been an Extreme Rules kind of feud, and we all remember the last time that Alexa Bliss was in an Extreme style match. It was that terrible kendo stick on a pole match with Bayley over the Raw Women's Championship either a year ago or 2 years ago. I can't specifically remember. I apologize for that. But Ronda Rousey will be in the front row for this match, which leads me to believe that's probably going to be the reason for the Extreme Rules stipulation. So I think we will see Ronda get involved somehow.
Yeah, as far as the actual content of what went on between Nia and Ronda on Monday Night Raw, it was pretty forgettable. There was some stuff with Mickie James in there getting beat up, but not the most important bit, but important enough to make this list. Let's move on. Number 4, Kevin Owens and Braun. So Braun Strowman decided, Kurt Angle put him into a match with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens ran away, losing the match by countout, but not before Braun Strowman put him into a port-a-potty and threw him off the side of the stage. This was one step above dumping poop on Dolph Ziggler and the Spirit Squad. This was pretty mediocre. Braun is funny sometimes, but sometimes they get a little too childish, and this was, for me, pandering to the child's audience, which is okay. It is a children's television show, and we're just living in their world. Not my favorite Braun and Kevin moment, but not the worst thing we've seen from him either. John, what'd you think?
Yeah, you know that I wasn't a big fan of this match, Joe. I found it kind of cringe and all that, but, you know, it is what it is, and it did its job. I mean, Kevin Owens did take a nasty bump off the stage, it looked. We were talking about that while we were rewatching it, so, you know, all in all, not great, but it was fine.
Yeah, moving on. Number 3, Bayley's counseling sessions with Dr. Shelby have begun. Apparently, WWE has trademarked Dr. Shelby, so there's more of this to come. Sasha was there as well. They were mocking each other. Blah, blah, blah. It's, you know, neither one of them is really heel and neither one of them is really face, so it's like two kind of gray area stars feuding. It's weird. It's not the direction that anyone particularly wanted to see. I don't know how many of you found it funny. I didn't find it as funny as, like, the counseling sessions that we had with Team Hell No. But, you know, give it time. We'll see where it goes. I'm hoping one of these characters have a hard heel turn, preferably Sasha. As you know, I think that she's the better heel in this situation. Yeah, that's what we've got from that, and we'll see how this develops. Number 2, Iron Rollins. We had some action between the team of Ziggler and McIntyre and Reigns and Rollins. Again, Rollins and Ziggler are going to have an Intercontinental Championship match at Extreme Rules. It's going to be a 30-minute Iron Man match, which is going to show off both of their talents, two of the best in the ring in WWE right now, so that should be exceptional. John, any thoughts?
I'm very, very excited about this match. I love a good Iron Man match. I love Dolph Ziggler. He's one of my all-time favorites, and I also love Rollins. He is another one of my favorites, so this match is going to burn it down.
Yeah, it will. It will burn it down. Good use of WWE terminology. Moving on to number 1, Roman Knight Reigns. Roman Reigns reigned supreme on Monday Night Raw, once again dominating not only in his matches, but also in TV time. And actually didn't really dominate in his matches. He got the crap kicked out of him by the Revival at the end of one of them. But Roman had 2 matches this week, one with Bobby Lashley, one with Seth Rollins. He's in 2 feuds because he's double the box office draw or something. I don't know. Some bullshit excuse that WWE wants to give you. He's on his way to winning the Universal title from Brock Lesnar before too long. Don't doubt it. Don't work yourself into a shoot. It's happening. He's been the guy all along. I don't know how Brock's held onto the title, but they're going to do it. A lot of us are going to be miserable. Some of us are going to be happy just to see it off of Brock. We're in that category. And some of us are going to be happy because we like Roman, and that is not the biggest, but, you know, good for you guys. He hasn't held the title in over 2 years, so, you know, I'm always happy to see some of the fans happy, even if it means I'm not that happy. But maybe it'll mean that we don't have to have 40 minutes of Roman on television because, as you know, the Universal title is booked as such that people just disappear and don't actually show up. So maybe it's a good thing. Put it on him and he won't be on TV. He'll just become a part-timer. We'll see. Anyway, Raw was mediocre this week, in my opinion. John, you liked it, but I thought it could have been a lot better, but they know they were competing with the holiday. People start having parties early, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, just read spoilers for this one, but that was your Raw Rundown. Let us know your thoughts on social media, and speaking of social media, it's time to say hi to the people. This week on Hi to the People, we want to know your thoughts on should Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley main event the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. The rumor on the street is that this will be the main event, and whether or not it deserves it is up to you fans. You know, obviously there's a WWE Championship match on the cards, but Roman always goes over to the main event and to the top of the card, so that sounds like it's going to happen once again. You can vote by tweeting at us and using the hashtag #HotTag, or email us at tagmeandbro@gmail.com to share your opinion and maybe have your thoughts read out on the show. Every week we'll read out some of our favorite responses. So now let's talk about the results of last week's topic. We asked you, who should be the next #1 contender to the Intercontinental Championship? And you voted in a landslide for Finn Balor. 65% of you said Finn Balor. And in second place was Chad Gable with 16%. Bobby Roode was third with 12%. And No Way Jose was fourth with 7%. So for you Jose fans out there, perhaps there is a glitter of hope. At Carissa Abraham, at Carissa Abraham at Radio Carissa said, I need to know who voted for No Way Jose. Elmo. Let's see what else here. Jack McSomeone at Animated Shitlist said, Balor all the way. And let's see. Here's one more. Nick at Parkamonkey526 said, has to be Balor. Gone off Bobby so much. Monkey with hands over eyes. Bring back NXT. Heel Bobby Roode. High-fiving hands. I think they meant to use them as prayer hands, but if you didn't know that emoji is not prayer hands. It's two hands high-fiving. So here's a lesson for you.
I'm just going to cut in right here. I didn't know that, so please do not feel embarrassed because I totally thought they were prayer hands. Back to you, Joe.
Yep, two hands high-fiving, and that's your news for today. So can't wait to see what you guys have to say about Bobby versus Roman. You know, I actually enjoy the feud. It's one of the better Roman feuds recently, and Bobby is rising to the occasion. But I don't know if it deserves a main event, but we'll see what the people have to say.
Bullet Club is fine.
Let's take a quick spin to the Indie Corner tonight, as it is currently Saturday, July 7th, Cody versus Kenny live at the Cow Palace for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship in a match that has been much anticipated. Will Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, overcome the leader of the Golden Elite and the leader of the Bullet Club for the second time, or will Kenny get his revenge and finally put Cody out of his misery? Or to silence, or something. I don't know. This is why I'm not a professional wrestling announcer, just a professional amateur radio guy. We'll see, though. Should be an exceptional match. You can watch the match on NewJapanWorld.com. It launches the G1 special, which is going to be taking place all throughout the next couple of weeks, which we'll be talking about in detail moving forward. But that's your Indie Corner. It's always a quick segment. If there's anything you ever want to hear on the Indie Corner, let us know.
It's Rusev Day. It's Rusev Day.
And now it's time for the main event. Today in the main event, we're talking about, is Brock's booking a work or is it reality? So there's all these rumors of whether or not he's going to go back to UFC, and now we're hearing that Brock is probably not going to show up at SummerSlam. So we've talked before about how I already think the Universal Championship is dead, so we're not going to talk about that in particular, but just about this reality era booking and whether or not it's A, real, B, if it actually works in the way that they intend it to, and C, whether or not it's worth even trying or if it just annoys people. So let's start off with, John, do you think it's a work, or do you think there's any truth to Brock Lesnar having real life contract disputes and not wanting to perform?
I definitely think that there is a world where it could be real. I don't think we're living in that world, but I mean, it is a very valid explanation for everything that's been going on. But I'm going to have to go ahead and say that it's a work. I think that WWE is feeding this fake news to outlets to kind of get the word out to the smarky fans, if that's what you would like to call them, to try and build heat on Brock so that when Roman eventually wins, it will have them, cheer him. Didn't work the last time. Well, I mean, kind of did at WrestleMania, but then they fucked all that up. But I do think that this is a work.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on this one. I definitely think it's a work. I definitely think they know exactly what they're doing. I think they've recognized that fans are so upset with, they monitor social media. They have, a user on Reddit. They monitor Twitter. I'm sure Facebook as well, if anyone's actually still on that thing. It's basically MySpace now. But, they are not dumb to the fact that we are upset by the fact that Brock is no longer around, and they know that they can generate quote-unquote heat by telling us that he's not going to actually show up. So I do think it's a work, but here's my real problem with it. If it is a work, why go down this road? WWE thinks, we'll generate heat on Brock, and then people will hate him, and they'll cheer, I guess, whoever eventually beats him. But here's the thing. a lot of people were already sick of Brock all the way back before WrestleMania. Pretty much once he put Braun down with one F5, people started to turn on him. And that was way back in last October at No Mercy. I mean, this is a guy who is not the superstar, the beloved superstar that he was when he returned back in 2012, fresh off a UFC world title run. You know, this is a guy now who basically hasn't really lost except for to The Undertaker in this entire run in WWE, not counting when he lost to Triple H. And Goldberg. But, you know, he really hasn't lost often, and he really hasn't lost in a meaningful way. So a lot of people turned on him a long time ago, and if you haven't turned on him yet, people are really starting to now because he's holding the title hostage, and for some reason people still care about this title, which I appreciate. Like, the title exists, so you want to try and care about it, but I digress. You know, why go this route? You know, you're generating quote-unquote heat, but I think it's go-away heat and not like, you're a bad guy heat. I think it's people are literally like, yeah, don't show up, don't bring the title back. Like, we don't care. Like, you know, I'd rather just have the WWE Championship move between both brands and just have the IC title or the US title be the highest belt on whatever brand the WWE Championship is not on. I don't think you need 2 world titles. I'd be content if Brock never came back ever again. Like... And that's not good. That's not what you want. You know, I don't even know if I'll cheer for whoever beats him because I really don't care. And like, I think it's going to probably be Roman anyway. And then it's still a person I'm not really excited to see be the champion. So I don't know. What do you think?
The thing with it is even if Brock does end up coming to SummerSlam, there's a good chance he's not even going to lose. And that's really the thing, right? Is don't build this whole thing up in our minds like next time he shows up, he's going to lose. Next time he shows up, he's going to lose. We're finally going to get this title back. Because even with Braun having the contract, I'm not confident that we're ever going to see this title reign end. And it's a shame that I have to feel that way because I want to see somebody more meaningful at the top of the card. Even at this point, if it's Roman, if it's Braun, I don't really care. I want more meaningful content out of my television program. And I don't think that's too much to ask.
Brock is still a draw for a lot of people, and there are a lot of people out there who still think, oh yeah, because he's a good fighter in real life, and it's convincing to me that he should be able to win, and therefore, like, he's the toughest, most, like, strongest guy, so he should be the champ all the time.
We talked about that in the car the other day, and we were kind of tearing that whole argument apart because, I mean, yes, Brock Lesnar is a terrifying man. If I ever saw him on the street, I would probably turn and run the other way.
Yes, Brock Lesnar could personally kick the shit out of me. Absolutely.
But he is not nowhere close to the greatest fighter in UFC.
No. Even when he was UFC champ, if anybody who actually watches UFC knows he was gifted a title opportunity, he barely won that match, and then he pretty much lost it, like, right away. Like, it was not one of the historic UFC heavyweight runs.
He's no McGregor.
No, he is no McGregor. And the truth is that all of that doesn't really matter. WWE is a separate program. It's not real. It's a television show about a wrestling show. If they wanted to, they could have brought Brock in and been like, he's a fighter in real life, but he doesn't know how to wrestle, and have him lose every match, and that would have been just as convincing.
That's what they did for Ronda at WrestleMania 34 is what we're on. They stopped numbering them, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When she was, I mean, she did end up winning that match against Triple H and Steph, but she came in and she was utterly confused about what was going on. There was cheating going on, and she was yelling at the ref, being like, "They're cheating! Are they allowed to do that?"
Yeah. And Brock's a different case because he was a wrestler beforehand. So
Very true.
He had won the WWE title beforehand, so that storyline wouldn't have worked for him in this particular scenario. But had he just been a UFC fighter, which is what a lot of people talk about. A lot of people don't talk about his dominant, here comes the pain run before he actually left. They just talk about his UFC stuff, which I don't think is the best argument or backing for success.
They've pretty much, with a couple exceptions with interactions between him and Kurt Angle, they've pretty much retconned the entirety of his first run. They don't talk about his amateur wrestling, really. They only talk about UFC forward.
Yeah, every once in a while, Paul will mention his, Division I championship win, but only when they need to put someone else down, not actually to boost Brock, which is a shame.
Yeah.
So the question is, if you're using this kind of booking for Brock, he's a draw because of what he did in the octagon, and he's just the toughest man alive, and he can beat anyone, so he only shows up when there's a worthy opponent. Like, even if it's a work, which I believe it is, is it effective? Do you think enough people are convinced by this that they're doing the right thing? And the truth is, WWE doesn't have to do the right thing. They have enough money that they can do whatever they want, which, by the way, if you're saying that, like, they can do whatever they want, so therefore that is the right thing, that's a stupid argument. It's a really, really stupid argument, and your logic is super flawed. Like, think about it for 10 seconds, and that's basically like saying that the president can do whatever he wants, therefore he doesn't have to do the right thing, but whatever the president does is the right thing. Like, just, it's childish. It's childish in its thinking. But, there are some people out there who say that is the right argument. I disagree strongly. Anyway, but the truth is that WWE can do whatever they want. That, to me, does not mean that it's always the right thing or the right decision or a good decision. But let's talk about this. Is the way that they booked Brock right or good in any way, both for you, and do you think it works for the mass audience?
I think, while I'm not the biggest fan, but I do think on some level it is effective and working, because it is getting a rise out of the internet wrestling community. It is drawing heat to Lesnar, and it is going to, on some level, whether it's go away heat or just I hate you heat or some entirely new kind of heat that we don't even know about yet, it is going to make, when he eventually loses the title, more of an acceptable moment. Rather than just if he didn't show up and there was no deal about it and he just didn't wrestle because I'm Brock Lesnar and I don't have to wrestle. Oh, look at me, I'm Brock Lesnar. I'm the baddest man on the planet and I don't have to wrestle. And ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. But I do think that on some level it will make it more of a cathartic moment for people like us, people that really care about who is on top. Even if that ends up being Roman, which I think it will be, I think we'll just all be happier to see Lesnar go away.
Yeah, and I think what you said at the end there is really important, like, care about who is on top. A lot of people say, like, who the champion is doesn't matter, and I disagree. Like, this is a television show. People write it, they put it together, everyone on it is a character. Think about it if it were Game of Thrones. You want your favorite character in Game of Thrones to be on the Iron Throne, or at the very least, the Hand of the King. Like, you cheer for certain people to have power because you believe in what they do and their message, etc. It's the same thing with WWE. You want your favorite superstar to be the champion and the face of the company because then they can guide in theory, they can guide the direction of the company, right? Like, in kayfabe, in the world of TV, that's how it should work. So by saying, like, oh, whoever the champion is just doesn't matter, I think is silly, because it's like, well, then why should we have favorites at all, or a champion at all? Like, why have a champion if it doesn't matter? It's not just simply a tool to get certain people over or to highlight certain things on the show. Like, it should mean something. And it used to mean something. Like, you're telling me it didn't matter that Hulk Hogan was champion in the 80s? Like, it absolutely mattered.
And look at NXT. I mean, NXT is a show that is absolutely defined by its champions. I mean, each era of NXT feels different when there's a different champion. It does. I mean, Rude's era felt different from Finn's era, feels different from Black's era.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just whatever Triple H is doing, he's doing it right.
Well, he understands that the belt has significance and that the top guy should be important. But in this case, the top guy doesn't feel important, and the top title on the Raw brand is lost really any meaning. So for me, that, I don't know, it definitely hasn't worked, this booking, for me personally, and I have to believe that wrestling fans aren't stupid. I think a majority of people have probably lost interest, And, sure, I think they'll cheer when Brock loses the title, because people always cheer for a title change no matter what. And anybody who says different has not really watched wrestling. So people will cheer for that. But I don't know if it'll be the right kind of cheering. And I think that people might, if it's not, say No Way Jose was chosen to beat Brock. Like, yes, people would cheer. It would be kind of funny. It'd be interesting. It'd be like, wow, this guy came from nothing. But they would lose interest the next night.
Look at Jinder. People cheered when Jinder won the title.
Yep. And they lost interest immediately. Or at least after his first pay-per-view defense.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Punjabi prison.
Oh, God.
That'll give you some flashbacks.
And we'll leave it on that. That was a great discussion, John. Thank you very much. That actually turned into a way better one than I thought it was going to be. As these things occasionally do. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts on social media. And let's close out the show the way we do every week with our Stars of the Night.
You just made the list!
Here are our Stars of the Night for Monday Night Raw, July 2nd, 2018 edition. Number 3, Kevin Owens. You take a porta-potty bump from a charging Braun Strowman, you make the list, because that was crazy. Crazy. And just, I'm not a big fan of this feud in particular, but just you got to make the list when you take a porta potty bump. Number 2 is Bayley. I thought she was the better of the two in the Sasha Bayley counseling segments. I'm more interested to see where her storyline goes than I am where Sasha's storyline goes. Again, it wasn't my favorite segment, but it entertained me a little bit, so we're putting you on the list this week, Bayley. And number 1, I'm actually giving to Roman this week. And when you get that much TV time and you don't royally fuck it up, which he didn't. It was actually fine. Roman's been, I really enjoy this feud with him and Bobby. So I think this is the first time that Roman's ever made number 1 in the list. But Roman, it took you a while, but hey, big dog, you deserve it. Well, that'll do it for us here at Tag Me In Bro. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Tag Me In Bro and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, TuneIn, Google Play, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are found. As always, we're eager to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, answers, so please let us know what you liked, what you hated, and what you could give a damn about. For my co-host, John Tantillo, I have been Joe Tantillo. Thanks for listening to Tag Me In Bro, and we will see you on the next episode for SmackDown Live. Goodbye, Universe.
Goodbye, Universe.